What is up, everybody? Nell here with a car video. I've been moving and shaking, so let me get out this UFC Fight Night 90 prediction video. Also, my Bellator 157 recap video. Let's get into it. First up, the UFC, the first of many fights on UFC Fight Night Las Vegas. I'm excited. This first event, don't sleep on it. It's going to be awesome. I'm choosing John Makdessi to beat Mehdi Baghdad. Although I'm not quite, I think John is more technical. However, he can be baited into a brawl. I don't know, you could have a weird decision here. It's going to be a good fight to set the card off right. Next up, I'm choosing Alberto Mino to beat Mike Pyle. Although Mike Pyle is 40 years old, sometimes he has those old wily veteran tricks and he pulls one out. So it can go either way as well. Should be a good fight. I'm choosing Joe Duffy to beat Mitch Clark. Now, Mitch Clark, this could be technical, this could be brawl style, this might even be a candidate for a fight of the night, so it can go either way as well. Choosing Joe Duffy though. Next up, I'm choosing Alan Jouban to beat Belal Muhammad. Now with Alan, you know, sometimes he's too willing to brawl. He knocks people out and he gets knocked out, so this could go either way. I'm telling you, this is a good card. Now, co-main event, you have Roy Big Country Nelson taking on Derek Lewis, the Black Gorilla. And I was going back and forth on this one, because you really do have experience and age. I believe that Roy is 40 years old. Derek Lewis, I believe, is 31. Also, he is not nearly as experienced as Roy Nelson is. Roy Nelson, I mean, he's been in multiple organizations. He has been champion in a different organization, IFL. He has the black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu that he never freaking uses. He's been knocking people out probably longer than Derek Lewis has been fighting. So he really, like I said, he's a lot older, but he really does have the experience edge over Derek Lewis. This is his biggest test to date. Derek Lewis, he's all around. He's a stand-up fighter, likes to knock people out, but he's really been getting better. I believe, like, really the last year, he's been fighting kind of often. I don't know if he's got a new camp or coaches, but he's been putting up these videos of him. He's a big guy, but he's like a solid big guy. He's quicker than he looks. He all these videos of him jumping large distances and things of that nature. So he's a real athletic heavyweight there. And like I said, he's got more control now. He doesn't blow his load like he used to. He used to gas now. His last few fights, he really wrestled there. You can tell he's working on the wrestling. He has combinations now. He's moving better. So I think he's just getting better and better every time we see him, which is good, but he's still, I think that Roy has much more diversity in his tools and just simply more tools. Now, as far as physically who's going to be stronger, I'm not sure. Derek has been working, like I said, on the wrestling. However, he's just a strong guy. With Roy being 40 years old, I think him being just physically in better shape, having gone through less wars, I think that Derek might be physically stronger. Now, when it comes to like up against the cage, dirty boxing, something like that, again, he might be able to muscle Roy a little bit, but Roy might be better with the leverage and feeling where the weight and the balance is, so he might be able to move him around easier. You see what I'm saying? So it might cancel each other out just with the simple experience of Roy Nelson. Roy Nelson hasn't been consistent lately. He's had, honestly, the last fight, I was like, okay, looks like he still got a fight. Before that, I was like, I think you need to retire. So he hasn't been consistent. So who knows which Roy we're going to see? The Roy that I think needs to retire, or the Roy that still has something left? This is a test for him as well. He's got someone who's hungry. Will he be able to withstand the constant barrage? Derek Lewis has a high offensive output and he has a lot of aggression. He's going to go after Roy, which I think is what he has to do. I think he has to be first. Period. Don't let Roy get comfortable. Don't let him start to think, because again, I think he has such a high, such a wide experience gap that I think that Derek needs to jump on him early, be first, and stay on him. You can try to knock. They both have KO power in both hands, so this could end in a minute. This could 3 rounds. I don't know. What do y'all think? 3 rounds? 3 rounds? I don't know. It happens. It does happen. Roy's been 3 rounds before, but with this guy, I don't know. We could see a submission if Roy decides to go. You would see the submission from Roy. I don't think you're going to see a submission from Derek. Going back and forth, I don't know if it's an upset. I don't know who's ranked higher. I don't know about like the betting odds, but I'm going to go ahead and pick Derek Lewis. Yeah. But I don't know. Now, main event, and you have the UFC lightweight champion Rafael dos Anjos RDA taking on Eddie Alvarez. And boy, Eddie Alvarez, talk about timing. This fight came from pure timing, and I don't mean him stepping in because someone got injured. I mean the fact that you know, RDA got injured. So Conor McGregor ended up fighting Nate. And instead of beating Nate, he, of course, lost to Nate. So now there's a rematch. If he would have beat Nate, we might be seeing that next. All the other lightweights are basically either tied up in fights or they got injured. Tony Ferguson got injured. If he would have beat Nurmagomedov, he would be fighting probably next over Eddie Alvarez, just because of the selling, the money factor with Tony's personality. But timing, so the timing, just as far as I don't want to say no one else, because if you look at Eddie's record, he came in fighting Donald Cerrone, so they threw him to the wolves. He's actually quite well known because he got his reputation outside of the UFC. So if you're in the know, you actually know who Eddie Alvarez is. He's actually more known than you think he is. He's beat Anthony Pettis, beat Gilbert Melendez, so he has the necessary record where you can make the case. It's not like anybody saying he doesn't deserve a shot. Where is this coming from? No, you can't say that. You look at the record, you're like, okay, it makes sense. So the timing there, with RDA being healthy and not injured, the timing there. So just the timing. And we get this fight here. Eddie Alvarez started off boxing. He also wrestled throughout high school. And then he wanted to continue, but he got a partial scholarship for wrestling to college. And his family couldn't afford the rest of the money for college. So he started fighting for money, basically. That's how that happened. And he just started getting better and better. He's just solid all the way around, nice and durable. He figures things out. He makes adjustments well in the fight. He usually comes up with a pretty good strategy. His strategy against Anthony Pettis, it worked. Again, his strategy against Gilbert Melendez, that was a closer fight, but I actually was okay with that decision as well. He's not necessarily... Actually, he has been an explosive fighter outside the UFC. He's been known for those brawls, but if you listen to him, he doesn't like getting into those brawls. It just simply, it happens out of the style matchup and who he's fighting, but he doesn't like that. So he would like to fight a safer route like he has the last couple of fights in the UFC. You have RDA, who I believe is a third-degree black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He's also an underrated wrestler, and his stand-up game is just coming along with the Muay Thai. He's quick. He hits hard. He's very athletic. Questioning, these injuries. He's going to be rusty. What shape is he going to be in? Because the old RDA is simply just underrated and to me just underappreciated. Quite frankly, I'm a big fan of RDA. I love the fact that he beat 8 out of the top 10 ranked lightweights just to get his title shot. He could not be denied. He's one of the most credited champions that we have. He really deserves that belt, and he's just so good all the way around. So I'm picking RDA. I think Eddie might have a good plan, but I just think that RDA is more talented than he is. I think, again, I want to say he's more athletic. However, with these injuries, we'll see. But normally, I think he's more athletic. I think he has more diversity in his tools and uses them more. I think he's more unpredictable. I also think he's quicker than Eddie. I think he'll get the jump on him and, his offensive output. And his tank doesn't stop. RDA is underappreciated, y'all. Underappreciated. Okay. So I'm picking RDA. And I want to, it should be a good fight, though. Eddie Alvarez, he doesn't like to brawl, but he might get into one here. But choosing the champ, and still. Now, Bellator 157 recap happened this Friday. It was a really good event. I'm just going to talk about the last two, though. The co-main event and the new Bellator lightweight champion, Michael Chandler. As you know, he beat Patricky Pitbull. As you know, I just forgot his name, the ex-champion. He's in the UFC now. I'm on the fly. I don't rehearse, so y'all give me his name. I'll probably think of it later. But he went to the UFC, so he let the belt go, and they had a vacant title there, so they fought for the vacant belt, and we got a new champion. This ended in the first round, and it started out like most fights. They're filling each other out. No one's really taking too many risks. They fought each other before in a close matchup, trying to find the range, things of that nature, real cautious. Then Michael Chandler lands with a sweet right, all on the chin, turned his whole head to the side, knocked him all the way out. Sleep. All the way out. It came out of nowhere. I was like, what? And I was watching, and I was still surprised. That's how it came out of nowhere. Because again, it's just kind of going like a regular fight. But he knocked him all the way out, honey. And new. So who do you think should be next for Michael Chandler? I still can't remember who took the belt from him. And I actually like him. I actually thought he would be in the UFC at some point. Jesus. American Top Team. Okay, anyway, main event, we saw the return of Quentin Rampage Jackson against Satoshi Ishii. And I'm not familiar with Ishii, but he was game. he was game. This was a close fight. Quentin won the split decision, and it could have gone either way. I wouldn't have been mad if it went Ishii's way, man. He brought the fight to him. The crowd was restless. I think they had high expectations, especially coming off that Michael Chandler KO, starting the event off with the debut of Matt Mitrione, where he got almost KO, looked like he was out of it, only to recover and then rain down a shot from the heavens to knock his opponent out. So this was a good card. I think the expectations were a little high. They were kind of booing and restless throughout this entire matchup, which ended in a split decision, but I actually thought it was okay. I thought it was pretty good. Like I said, Ishii was not scared of Rampage. He took the fight to him. He won the first round, took him down, ground and pound a little bit, held position there as well, but he definitely won that first round. He didn't do too much damage. The second round, he was able to take him down again, but wasn't able to hold him down as long. He was able to hold position against the cage, but Rampage was just simply landing more against the cage with his back, with the bad position, but he was landing elbows. He was landing punches to the body and things of that nature. He was moving, so he outworked him even with his back up against the cage. I can see how you could sway that towards Rampage. Also with Ishii having the dominant position, though, I could see how you could sway it towards Ishii. Third round went to Rampage. Rampage took him down, was able to end with some nice, not nice ground and pound. I don't want to be mean, but he was real tired. From the Rampage of all that we know, this was some tired ass ground and pound. I got to be honest. I almost thought old boy would get up. He was breathing hard. This was some the winter of my career type ground and pound, but he won that third round. I'm sorry. So let me know what you thought of the Bellator event. Let me know all your picks and stuff for the UFC Fight Night 90. I'm so excited for UFC Fight Week. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, where I will have 15-second predictions for a lot of stuff. I'm gonna have like 12 15-second predictions coming up. And subscribe, like, talk to me, take care. Goodbye.